Hi, I'm Augie. If you're considering getting a Jack Russell, this is everything I wish someone had told my family first. Let's get into it.
Jack Russell Terrier owners frequently describe their dogs the same way. Smart, but indifferent to being told what to do. That description is consistent with how the breed is classified by veterinary and breed authorities. Hill's Pet describes the Jack Russell as a happy, energetic dog with a strong desire to work, most content when given a job to do. Royal Canin describes the same trait as big dog energy, housed in a small dog's body. This energy level is a direct result of the breed's original function. Jack Russells were bred to run alongside horses and hounds for extended distances during a hunt, then go underground alone to corner a fox in a den. Hounsey notes that a Jack Russell Terrier does not have an off switch in the traditional sense, since the breed was never bred to need one. A dog required to keep pace with a horse for hours and then perform focused work underground was selected for endurance, not rest. The breed's independence is rooted in the same working history. Unlike breeds developed to remain close to a handler and take continuous direction, Jack Russells were bred to work away from their handlers, often underground, where they had to make decisions without guidance. Hounsey describes this as a what's in it for me logic, distinct from a drive to please. This behavior reflects the decision-making structure the breed required 2 centuries ago, still present in a dog now living in a house. Prey drive is one of the most consistently documented traits across sources. Hill's Pet states that training cannot eliminate the hunting instinct from a Jack Russell, and that the dog instinctively views a family cat or hamster as prey. Love to Know Pets confirms this, noting that Jack Russells make effective hunters of rodents and squirrels, and that the drive can extend to small pets and cats. Chewy states that when it comes to cats, the outcome is consistently negative, regardless of the level of socialization. None of these sources describe this as behavioral misconduct. They describe it as fixed instinct. Pooch and Mutt notes that Jack Russells were bred to flush prey out of a den rather than kill it, but adds that a Jack Russell could still injure or kill a small animal given the opportunity. The restraint built into the breed applied specifically to foxes under a handler's control during a hunt. That restraint does not extend automatically to a house cat, a hamster, or a neighbor's chickens. Digging follows a comparable pattern. Chewy describes digging as a healthy and natural behavior for the breed, tied directly to its original task of tunneling underground toward vermin. When a Jack Russell disrupts a flower bed, this is not a failure of training. It is the dog performing a version of the task its ancestors were bred to carry out. Escape behavior is connected to the same drive. Pooch and Mutt states that even a secure backyard is frequently insufficient containment for a Jack Russell, and that the breed will dig under fences to pursue prey, at times disappearing into burrows for hours or days. This is presented as an ongoing safety concern for owners, rather than an isolated incident. A dog bred to pursue prey underground without a handler present does not distinguish between historical hunting terrain and the modern yard. The breed is not defined solely by these challenges. Multiple sources describe Jack Russells as affectionate and closely bonded to their families. Talent Hounds includes an account from a long-time owner describing her Jack Russell recognizing and responding to her panic attacks. The same source lists the breed's core traits as fearless, devoted, and loyal, alongside energetic and vocal. Vocal behavior is a separate, frequently underestimated trait. Pooch and Mutt describes Jack Russells as prone to reactive barking, alerting their owner to minor environmental changes. This is presented as a defining feature of the breed's alert instinct, inherited from a dog whose original function depended on being audible underground. A terrier that could not be heard was, historically, a terrier that could not be located. These traits are not independent of one another, and none represent a recent shift in the breed. They reflect the same instincts that made Jack Russells effective at their original function 2 centuries ago, now present in an environment without the outlets that function required. A dog bred to run for extended periods, make independent decisions, hunt on sight, dig on instinct, and vocalize consistently was not redesigned for indoor life. It was relocated into it. Training a Jack Russell is described consistently across sources as a matter of channeling instinct rather than suppressing it. Chewy notes that the breed's temperament is highly trainable, provided the approach uses positive reinforcement and treats training as mentally engaging rather than repetitive. Pooch and Mutt is more specific, recommending short training sessions of around 10 minutes several times a day, because the breed becomes easily bored with anything longer or less varied. A Jack Russell that appears difficult to train is, in several of these accounts, often simply understimulated rather than incapable of learning. This need for mental engagement extends into formal dog sports built specifically around the breed's instincts. Love to Know Pets lists agility, rally, scent work, and 2 sports developed directly for this type of terrier called Go to Ground and Barn Hunt, both of which simulate the underground hunting work the breed was originally created to perform. Royal Canin adds Earth Dog trials to that list, describing them as competitions that allow the dog to use its natural digging and hunting instincts in a structured setting. None of these activities are framed as optional enrichment. They are described as outlets for behavior that will otherwise surface in less controlled ways, such as digging through a yard or escaping to chase something on their own terms. Boredom is treated as a direct behavioral risk factor rather than a minor inconvenience. Pooch and Mutt states that without sufficient physical and mental stimulation, Jack Russells will move toward destructive behavior, specifically citing excessive digging and chewing on furniture as the default outcome. This reinforces a pattern already established earlier in the research. Digging is not framed by any source as random misbehavior. It is consistently described as the breed's fallback behavior when its working instincts are left with nowhere to go. Compatibility with other animals follows a more cautious pattern than compatibility with people. Pooch and Mutt notes that Jack Russells can be aggressive toward unfamiliar dogs, regardless of the other dog's size, and recommends supervision around larger breeds, specifically to prevent the Jack Russell from initiating conflict it cannot physically win. The Dog Academy source adds that Jack Russells often do best as the only dog in a household, and that territorial behavior toward other dogs already living in the home is a realistic possibility, not a rare exception. Compatibility with children carries a similar level of caution. Royal Canin describes the breed as capable of being nippy and recommends households with slightly older children who already understand how to interact with a dog appropriately. The Embrace Pet Insurance source frames this the same way, stating that high energy levels and strong prey drive make the breed better suited to families with older children rather than very young ones, primarily due to the level of supervision required, rather than any indication of unpredictable aggression. Even living situation is addressed directly across these sources, rather than left as an assumption. Hounsey states that apartment living is possible for a Jack Russell, but only with intentional effort, noting that a brief trip outside once or twice a day is not sufficient exercise for the breed. The same source recommends fetch, agility work, or tug of war specifically as ways to burn off what it describes as surplus energy in a smaller living space. This detail matters because it reframes a common assumption. The issue is not whether a Jack Russell can physically live in an apartment. The issue is whether the owner is prepared to consistently provide the level of activity the breed requires, regardless of square footage. Taken together, These details describe a breed whose difficulty and its appeal come from the same source. The independence, the prey drive, the vocal alertness, and the physical endurance were never separate traits bred in isolation. They were bred as a single functioning package, designed to produce a dog capable of working alone, underground, without supervision, for hours at a time. What changed is not the dog. What changed is the environment it is now expected to live in.